So first thing is, how do we make a data tracker? We know that we want to collect data on our kids. We want to record their grades. We want to record that non-academic data of like attendance and, how many times did Eric fight with Alex this week or not fight with Alex this week. So we want to start tracking those things, but what should we track it on? And of course, one of the easiest places to track that data would be on a spreadsheet. And I know spreadsheets scare a lot of people. I was included in that group until Mr. Larry Snyder, who is here with us somewhere, he showed me some things about spreadsheets that really made me, oh, wow, this is so cool. I didn't know I could do this with a spreadsheet. Oh my gosh. And it got me really kind of turned on to them and what they can do for us. And there's some really cool things that we can do that are easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay, give me just a second here. Everything's running just a little bit slow. No, really.
You know what? If we could, if y'all don't mind, go ahead and turn off your cameras. It would make it things faster for Misha to run and go back and forth. So if you could, would you please go ahead and turn off your cameras?
All right. Can you see my screen and all my wonderful students I have in here today?
We are good.
Okay. All right. So first thing, I got 22 kids in this class, and I've already imported a couple of sets of different grades in here, and I want you to notice that right here we have some test grades, and those are going to be by percentage, but then I also have just I give out grades for how they're doing group work, and maybe they get a 4. It's based off of a rubric that we have in the classroom. So I want to be able to tell very, very quickly what some of these kids got without having to go one at a time and look at each individual score. So one of the things that I can do is I can create something called conditional formatting. So on this column right here, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit and hopefully it'll let me. It's thinking about it. I'll just pretend it's already zoomed all the way in that I wanted it to go. But right here, you'll notice that this is my test grades, and I highlighted the entire column by clicking right up here next to where the letter is. I can click away, and now it's on all my students. So I go back to B because I want the whole column highlighted. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put what's called a little bit of conditional formatting. That means I'm going to change the color of the cell based on what's in that cell. It could be text, it could be numbers, it could be whatever I want it to be. So I'm going to go up here to where it says format, and I'm going to go down to conditional formatting. Do you see this little window that kind of popped up over here? Do you see that, Larry?
Yep,
Please tell
me I see it.
Okay. Oh, now it's going to zoom in. Now when I don't want it to, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some conditions for all of these numbers that I have in here, these percentages. So I'm going to add a rule. I add a rule, okay? And the rule is going to be that if the format the cells if, and well, it's obviously already not empty. So I'm going to click on that, and you see you have text here, you have dates here. Look down here. Here's where we're talking about all the numbers. Now you're going to have to go back to those first grade days where we had the alligators and we talked about greater than and less than and equal to. So I want it to be greater than or equal to 90. All right. And you'll see that the default color is this kind of a mint green color. Now I'm a big green person, but I'm not a big mint green person. So I'm going to click on the little pink can there, and I'm actually going to make my top group blue. Okay. So if it's greater than or equal to 90 in this column here, it should turn them blue. Now it should, hopefully it does. Done. You know what? Let's get rid of that one. There we go. Okay. So now we've got the ones that are in blue. Those are the ones that have a 90 or above, but I have all these other ones that I need to look at. So I'm going to add another rule. And my next rule is going to be that it's going to be between 89 and 80. So I click in here again, and it is between, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go, the from value of 89 to 80. And I don't want it to be, and you'll see that it made it that mint green color again. I don't want that. So I'm going to make this one actually a nice green, a little bit darker green. Click done. So now I have a blue and I have a green, okay? And I can go on and on. I'm going to go ahead and add another rule here. And we're going to make this one kind of towards the bottom because I really want to see how my kids are doing at the bottom. So we're going to say that if it is equal to or less than or equal to, and I'm going to put in here 69, and we're going to make that one orange. I'm going to click done. And you're going to see here that the only ones that we didn't mark were the 70s. Can you all see that? And so very quickly as a teacher, if I know what these color, if I get these color codes the way that I want them and the way that we're going to use them in my classroom, I can look at this very quickly and I can see, okay, who's going to need some help? Where am I going to target? What kids do I need to work on things? Now this is all of the class data, but what if I just wanted to look, oh, I don't know, at Fox Mulder's data? How would I do that? Just looking at here, right? So I click here and I have all the names of all my students. I can click on this little filter guy right here. Click on him. All right, and you see it's got like a little honeycomb right here. Let's see if it'll let, it doesn't like to let me zoom in too much on the bottom part. So I click here, and now it's showing me all the names that are in here. So I'm going to clear, and I'm going to find Fox Mulder. There he is right there. I click OK. So now it's only going to show me Fox Mulder. Why would I want this to happen? I'm having a conference with mom and dad. So I don't want to show all my kids' data, maybe, maybe I just want to show them their son's data. And, obviously Fox needs a little bit of help because he's on that orange area, right? So we're going to need to have some discussions about that. Also, when Fox comes up here and we're having those conferences, him and I, about his work, we might be talking about, how are we going to help improve our assessment scores the next time around. And we can just look at his data instead of looking at everybody's data, because we know how kids are. They'll point out other people, hey, well, but look at how Johnny's doing, or we don't want that to happen. So we can filter that information out. When I'm done filtering, all I do is I just click the filter button again and it goes back. Okay, does anybody need to see that again? Are we good with that? Yeah.
So, Ms. Misha, you have a question here. The question is, how did you get to the conditional formatting tab?
Sure. I'll show you once again how I got there. So actually, I'm going to exit out of that so that way we don't even see it there. So what you have to do first is you have to select the column or the cells that you want the conditional formatting to be on. And I'm actually going to do this group here too. So you see how I clicked on the right next to the C? So the whole column was, because I want everything in that column to be conditional formatted. And then I go up to format right here, and almost all the way down is conditional formatting. And when I click on that, that's when it's going to bring it up over here. And the first one it always tries to do is not empty. So to get rid of that, we just click in there, and I'm going to put on here is equal to this time, because each one of these is just one number. I'm going to say 4, and I'm going to say blue. So those, oh, look at all the ones that have gotten 4s. I add another rule, and now we're going to say equal to, but this time we're going to say 3. And this time it's going to be the screen color again. Yeah, and then I can add another rule. And this time we're going to make it a 2 and make this one orange. Is that making sense to everybody? And you're going to see them over here. What if I don't want them anymore? What if I don't want the colors on there anymore? Do you see the little trash can right here? All I have to do is click the trash can, and it will remove what they call the rule for the conditional formatting, and it'll go back to being the transparent background. Everybody good with that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so now, so very easily I can look at this and I can say, oh, okay, I know who's going to need some help. Now, we're talking also about data trackers for our kids, right? How are we going to, how would I create something like this for my kids? So what I would do is I wouldn't have everybody's name in there. If this is going to be for each individual student, you wouldn't want to put any names in there. All you'd want to have is you want to put the conditional formatting on specific columns that you would mark at the top. Maybe you're going to mark this one assessment, or whatever titles that you wanted to have on certain columns, and then you would conditional format them before inputting any data into them. And then I would share it out through Google Classroom by making a copy for everybody. That way, what happens up here at the top where you see My Data Spreadsheet, it will say their name, My Data Spreadsheet. So that way everybody will have their own copy that they can start to work on that data. And of course, you're going to be right alongside them, helping them out, helping them, showing them where to input the data, and even how to read that data, how to look at it and determine some things. So this is a great way to start. Yes.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, and you may have already answered the question, but I had a phone call and I had to step away. Do you have to do conditional formatting for every column?
You can do several columns at a time if you want. I believe I can. You see how I did that? I'm just holding the mouse down, and I can add conditional formatting to all of these at the same time.
But you only want to format the cells. You only want to format the columns that you're using, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you don't want to do everything in it, because then every piece will be a different color. So you probably only certain columns you're going to want to do the formatting to, because maybe you just want to do it for the assessments, or maybe you just want to do it for group work. That you have that ability to choose what you want to look at as far as data goes. So you'll have to determine that. This is just to me, it's just a really quick way. I can look at this and immediately my eyes are drawn to the blue, so I know who's in the blue. I can see the orange. It's just really easy to look at this and say, okay, I know what I need to target now. I know what we need to work on. And that's why I like it, because I can just input data in here and it will change based on what I put in there. So if I go back and I change any of those, they will change to the color that is designated to them, except for the 70s, because those we didn't put a color on the ones that were in the 70s. Okay, any other questions about conditional formatting? It's pretty easy to use, but again, if I was going to do this with kids, if I wanted to send this data tracker out for my students, I would set up the conditional formatting first at the beginning. And then I would send it out through Google Classroom and make sure everybody had a copy. And then as we move down through the year, because you're not going to do the columns for the whole year, because that's just crazy. We wouldn't exactly know where our data is going to go, right? So then I would start to show my kids how to do the conditional formatting piece on their own. And so that way they could actually do that. And maybe they want to change the color scheme, right? I'd like to have purple instead of blue. That can happen. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
So one more question.
Sure.
Once students have made their own copy, can I add new formatted cells for the assignments?
If they've already made a copy, it's not going to transfer over onto that copy.
Okay. Thank you.
Another thing that you can do, let's say that you're kind of worried about this whole copy thing, just for that reason, because I want to add stuff to it. What you can do is you can actually add sheets down here at the bottom. Here's my sheet 1. And if I click right here, I can add a sheet, and then I can put the student name on it. And then I can add another sheet, and you can have as many sheets as you want. And then each sheet, you can actually copy the sheet before, and then you can have that conditional formatting on there. And then you can do it that way as well if you want to. It's still going to mean you're going to have to go through and do the formatting for all of them. But if that's something that, if you want it all together, so to speak, it's up to you. This is your data tracker, but there's another way of doing it if you're worried about making those copies for everybody else. Although I think I would like to have my kids have their own copy. It's their own data, and being able to work with them on an individual basis or a small group basis and discuss that data, I think would be just tremendous. So I hope I answered your question about that. Okay. Well, we're going to add a little bit more to this one, because, sometimes our kids, depending on their age and And I apologize, but I always go back to first grade because that's what I taught for a lot of years. And I know like what they're capable of doing and sometimes what they're capable of not doing. And I know that typing can be an issue for them. And so if I wanted them to input some data, maybe I wanted them to have a specific subject and I wanted them to type it in, social studies, that might be kind of tricky for them to put in there. Or if I wanted to decide to say, okay, this is group work, or this is class work, or this is homework, that might be kind of hard for them to type it in. And it might just be hard for anybody. Plus, then sometimes the data will get skewed because if I spell homework with a capital H and you spell homework with a lowercase h, the data is going to look different. So one thing that you can do to prevent that from happening is by creating what's called data validation. Now, we just did the conditional formatting where we changed the colors of the different cells. And data validation, what that does is it's only going to put specific data within the cells. And I really like this. This is really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and just click on the D. And you'll notice again, I'm up here at the very, very top and I click. So I'm going to do the whole entire column here. Okay. Now, data validation doesn't live in the same place as conditional formatting. You'll see it's here under data. Okay. So I go down and it's about halfway down right here, data validation. All right. So now I can add some data into these cells that's only going to be like specific. So it's going to put it in there kind of for me. All right. So I'm not going to do a list from a range, which I could, but I'm actually going to do a list of items. And it's going to say enter those items separated by comment. So I'm going to go ahead and do classwork, comma, and I'm going to get rid of that lower, there we go, classwork. I'm going to do group work, comma, and I'm going to do homework. Okay, and I'm going to leave this check mark right here. Show drop down list in cell. Let me show you what that's going to do. So I save. Let me back it up a little bit. Come on, there we go. And notice what it did here. It put a little disclosure arrow on each one of my cells. So when I click it, look what happens. Classwork, group work, homework. So they click it. And now they're going to know that that particular one. And I would actually probably have this at the beginning over closer towards their name, and then that way they would know that this is going to be classwork in the next cell. That's going to be over here. So I can just go ahead and just group work. This is going to be homework. I can go down at each one of those, and I'm not going to have to worry about kids typing it out. It's super easy. It just puts it in there for you. And then everybody's data will look the same, because if I go to filter, I'm only going to have to filter these particular three types of data. Or if everybody's doing it with a lowercase g, or they're like what happened to me with the classwork, and there was an uppercase L in there. It sees each one of those differently, and so you're going to have a whole list of data to have to go through instead of just these three components right here: classwork, group work, or homework. How was that? Is that understandable? Did everybody get that?
Good job, Misha. Thank you.
Okay. And again, to filter, you would just go over here to filter, and I could just filter between those three, and it would just bring up, if I had several that were classwork, I would just click on the filter, and you'll see it has that little honeycomb. I click it, and then all I have to do is clear and say, I just want the group work. And it will only bring up the group work. So if I have 7, 10, 12 that are group work, it's going to show me all 10, whatever. Okay, and you'll see that only Dana is the only one that's done any group work. Good job, Dana. Good job. Awesome. Love that, Dana. She's so awesome. All right, so we're good with data validation. So we've talked about conditional formatting. We've talked about data validation. And we're going to look at how to where am I going to put this stuff? Where am I going to put this? Now that we've got some data here, we can, look at a whole variety of data. It doesn't have to just be numbers. Of course, it could be text. We could put text in here as well. And I can even, create charts out of this. I don't know that I might have enough data for a chart. If I go to test here, let me see what happens when I do this. We'll see. I can have these kids here and I can create a chart. So what I did was I highlighted these particular students, and when you highlight for a chart, they all kind of have to be together in order to do that, and that makes it just a little bit tough sometimes. I'm going to click a chart here, and you'll notice here that it just put my chart in here. Okay, and it's showing me what everybody got that was within where I highlighted. So, and we can see who Steve Jobs, he got 100. That doesn't surprise me too much. But now I have a chart that's based on the data. So you could actually have your students do this, like maybe based on their group work or based on their homework, or they could actually make some charts. And the place where we're going to be putting all of this stuff works very nicely with charts, because what's great about it is if I change the data here, the chart is like fluid. It will change automatically. And where we're going to be putting this is all going to be in a Google site. And the Google site will change and update it automatically, which means you're not going to have to go there and update anything. It's going to update all by itself, which makes it so beautiful. So, and that's what we're actually going to go and do next here in just a minute. Are there any questions about this? Should I go through this again, or are we okay there? We good?
Yeah, I think we're good, Misha.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to go too fast, but I also don't want to go too slow for people who've seen this before.
There was a question on where's the chart icon?
Sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just delete this chart. Let me just delete it here. There we go. I just deleted it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and you see how I'm highlighting. I'm going to highlight again, and it's right up here. Right here. Right here next to the filter. It's right here. I click Insert Chart. And it's going to insert a bar chart automatically. Okay. But I can actually go in here. There's 3 dots right here. There's also another little window that'll pop up. I can edit the chart. And let me view actual size again so you can see. And here is the like the editor. And I can set up the rows, and I can even customize it where I can change the colors of the series if I want to. I can change the chart style. So if I don't want to, that's going to be over here. And if I don't want to have it as a bar chart, I can actually choose any of these other charts that are here. And it will change the data for me. Maybe we'll try a pie chart, and look at that. And everybody's pie has a part of the chart there. Now, of course, it did it by percentage points there, but I could actually change that. I can actually aggregate the data there and see if that does anything here. Yeah, kind of, not really. Pie chart isn't probably the best one to do this. I guess it's based on score. So we'll go back to bar chart. There we go. And so you saw where the little icon was? It's right next to the filter icon. And the filter icon will be your best friend when you're looking at spreadsheets, because not all the time do you want to see the entire spreadsheet. A lot of times looking at all of that is just overwhelming. And when you break it down, and I don't have to just break it down by one when I filter. You'll notice that had everybody's name in there, right? And I cleared everybody, and where I put the check marks is going to be what I can see. So I can actually I could have put check marks on Fox Mulder, on Marty McFly, on whoever else I have here on the list. I can do it just anybody. When I filter, it doesn't have to just be one person. It can be several people and just looking at their data. So that's kind of a nice little feature. And I can really thank Larry for showing that to me, because I had no idea how to filter when I first started with spreadsheets. No idea. And he's like, just filter it. And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, Misha, you took off and you're doing great with this.
Well, I like it.
There was a question on what happens if you filter. Will it only be the graph of that one student?
Oh, on the graph? I don't think so, because it builds the graph and it just leaves it. We can test it. So if I go, but I have to, remember, I have to kind of, I click on what I'm going to filter. All right, there's my little icon there. So I'm going to clear it out. Now I'm only looking at the number, so I'm going to go ahead and go to 67. Oh, You're absolutely right. That person did not get up put onto the graph because they were not within, they weren't within my filter, so they're no longer on the graph. You are right. Wow. You know what? I just learned something. I did not know that. I'm sure you already knew that, Larry. I did not know.
With a little bit of data there.
Yeah. A little bit, but I didn't know that, because I've always just done the graphs after I've selected data, but I had no idea that if that data wasn't in the filter, that it would disappear from the graph. I just learned something new. Thank you very much for that question, because now I have something else I can look at to do. All right, so now we've got this data here, and I want to display this data. I want to put it somewhere where we're going to be able to access it. Yes, I can access it through Google Classroom. Yes, I'm going to be talking with those students and we're going to be looking at these spreadsheets one-on-one. Yes, but maybe I want to put it in a location, maybe I'm having my students create a site or a page on my site, and I want them to be able to put their data on there and put their goals on there. And, we just have a really good relationship within our classroom. So how would I do that? So we're going to go to where Google Sites actually lives, and that is in your Google Drive. So if I go to Google Drive, and I'll just click off the search here, and I go to New, and you're not going to see it right here. So I have to hover over More. Hover over More. Okay, I want to make sure I said that correctly. And I go down here to Google Sites, and when you click on it, it's actually going to open up a new Google site. Now I already have a page that's open, and I believe, you know what, I had to open up a couple of other pages too. It's right here. So what I did was I named it, and I named it data. Okay, so here it is, and you have a header here. This is like the banner for your site. If you don't like that banner, you can change the image. Okay, and they have lots that you can choose from, or you can upload one. I happen to like some of the images that they have in here. They have some pretty cool ones that are in here. So I think I'm going to go with this one. Okay, so now I've got a background, and I don't have to just leave it as data. I can name it whatever it is that I want. And now I can start to build my site. So down here, this is where my stuff is going to live. So I'm going to go here to insert, because this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be inserting all of this stuff into my Google site. All right. So one of the things I want you to notice that you can insert is that you can insert sheets. And what's really cool about Google Sites is if I'm working on a Google document and I go to insert a document, it's going to take that last document that I was working on and go, is this the one that you want? Because this is the one I think that you want. And it kind of works its way backwards. But that way, if I'm working on that spreadsheet or that chart, it's going to want to pull that up first for me. So I'm going to click Sheets. And see, it says Recent up here. So here's my spreadsheet. And I'm going to insert it. There it is. Okay. Now, what if I didn't want the whole spreadsheet? I just wanted the chart. I don't want all of this information here. I just want the chart. Okay, then I don't need to insert the spreadsheet. I'm going to actually insert the chart down below, just so you can see the difference. So every time that you see like an open space, that's another place for that you're able to insert. And you can insert all kinds of things from Google in here. You can insert things from, you can insert links and buttons and all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to go down here to chart. And it's going to say, okay, well, you just created a chart. So is this the chart that you want? You click on it. And it's going to bring up the chart. How about this one? This is the one that you want, right? Because this is the last one that you did. I have to actually click on it to select it. And then I click Add. And there's my chart. Okay. And so you see, I can either have the chart, I can have the entire spreadsheet, I can have both of them. And again, what's really great about this chart right here, I have several of these on several of our badges pages, and it makes me look like I'm on top of everything, because anytime that the data on my spreadsheet changes, the data here changes as well. So it happens in real time. I don't ever have to come back here and worry about this chart again. I can just leave it alone, and as I change the data on my spreadsheet, on the real spreadsheet, not this one here, but on the real one, the data here will change as well, which is so cool. When I saw that feature, I was like, oh wow, that is so great that it does that. It's fluid. It's going to change as I'm changing the data. So I don't have to come back here and update this page all the time, which is nice. Okay. Are there any questions about adding a spreadsheet or a chart to a Google site? No questions? Okay. Now, if you wanted to create a page for each one of your students, how would you do that? How could I create a page for Fox Mulder? Right here where it says insert, right next door, it says pages. I click on pages. Now this is just a practice page I put on another site. I click new page at the bottom, which is a plus sign, and I name the page, and we're going to name this one Fox. Okay. And now you'll notice that it used the same header that I used on the previous page. It does that. It remembers that. It thinks, well, maybe you might want to use that one again. Can I change it? Yes. Every single page can be different. Now, here's something to think about. If you're going to make pages for your students, you might want to let them choose what they would like to have on the header. And because in the beginning, you're probably going to help, going to want to create this, but you can also invite them to work on their page right alongside you, which is kind of nice too. So you can edit it together. Okay. So you could change the image, again, upload. And you'll notice that there's even different header types. This is the banner, and then there's a larger banner, and then there's a cover, which looks very similar to the bulb, where it's one huge picture that's on it. Or if you don't want a picture, you can just do the title only. And so you can have a variety of different ways that you can make your page actually look. They even have some themes in here. I'm not really a big fan of going into the themes because I like to make mine just kind of from scratch. But some people would like to do that, and that's perfectly fine. I'm going to show you one thing over here to the side. Do you notice here, and this is actually our t-test page, Shelley. I'm staying away from the pages that that we're currently working on. But notice here that it says data. That's our page that we were just working on, and there's a line through this page right here. What that means is that this page is not visible off of the main page. There's no navigation to it, so nobody can really get to it. And that would be a trick that I would use with my kids. So off of their home page, off of your home page, you could create links or buttons that would take them to the individual pages. So that way everybody's just not clicking on all the different pages. Okay, so like here for Fox Mulder's page, you'll see that it's doesn't have the line through it, which means that it's in the navigation right now. I don't want it in the navigation. So I click on the three dots over here. Okay. And I can make this the home page. I can duplicate this page. Maybe I make a page that I want to use as a template, and I can duplicate it several times. And I can hide it from the navigation. Okay, so now you'll notice that it looks like the reason that's blue is because that's the page that I'm on right now. Okay, all right, you see all of these pages are hidden from the navigation, which means that if I were to go to this website, if this website was published and I could go to it, I would not see any way to get to these pages unless there was a button on it that said it would take me to t-test or it would take me to data. There's no way to get to these pages. Okay. Are there any questions about the navigation tool that we have within Google Sites? I could spend like all day just doing Google Sites because there's so much in here. And I'm just showing you just a small fraction today. So, no questions? We're good? Okay, so now we have kind of a,
Jessica,
yes.
just a quick question. How would you individualize that then for other students?
How would I individualize this?
Yeah. So like you have a page for Fox,
Uh-huh.
but would everybody going in see Fox, or would they be able to see their own?
Yeah, they would have a link to get to theirs. There is a way that you can kind of lock them if you wanted to do it that way, or if you wanted them to create their own page on their own site, like if they wanted to create like a page on a Google site of their own, they share the link with you, and then you can put the link on yours. You know what I mean? So you would have access to theirs as well.
Okay,
There's a
thank you.
lot of different ways. I know it's kind of like, oh man, that's like a lot of information. As a first grade teacher, I probably would want to have everybody on one site, so that way I could kind of keep track of everybody. And again, when I had those conferences, that would be a time where we could actually work, look at the data and then maybe work on it together. But as they get older, of course, they're going to want to do stuff on their own, and they can create a page on their Google site, and then they could send you the link to it, so you can view it and look at it in case they wanted to kind of keep it separate. I know we're all about, we want to share out the data, and it's a classroom environment about sharing the data, but there's going to be sometimes when kids aren't, maybe don't want to share their data, or maybe they just want to have something, for themselves that's theirs. So that would be another way is to let them make their own site. And again, these don't go outside the district, so nobody from the outside can look at these pages. Only people within YISD. They have to have a YISD account in order to see our Google site pages, which is actually a very safe thing, because now our kids can put stuff out there. Of course, we still don't want them to put their first name and their last name together with a picture or anything like that, but we can actually get a little more individualized with their sites, because nobody from the outside has access to them. It'll be blocked for them. But that was a good question. Any other questions? We're going to go back to our data page, and I'm going to add a couple more things to my data page. Okay. Like I said, I have had some other things I was thinking about for Google Sites, but that's gonna take us over. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. I'll just move it over here for now. There we go. Okay. So we're going to pretend that maybe I want to have some non-academic data, and you're going to get a happy face if you came in and you said the vocabulary word today, the word of the day, and you use it in a sentence, and it was so awesome, and I want to give you a happy face for that. And so how could I put a happy face into my spreadsheet here, for that some of that non-academic data? How would I do that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on this cell right here. I would probably have a title up here, a header, maybe a word of the day or whatever it might be. But I'm in the cell, and Fox has had a pretty good day today, so we're going to give him a happy face. So I want to put a happy face in here. So to do that, I'm going to insert. So far we've done 3 different parts of our menu. We did format for conditional formatting. We've done data for data validation, and now we're going into insert. All right. Now I want you to look at this. This is really, really cool, because they've just kind of added this not that long ago. I can add an image in a cell, or I can add an image over the cells. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want in the cell, because then it locks it in the cell, so that way they don't go over the top of each other. They kind of don't bleed into each other. So I'm going to go image in cell, and it's going to say, okay, what image do you want to use? I happen to have a happy face on my desktop, and only because we were using it for something else yesterday, and I just happened to notice and glance up and see it there, because I can use the Google image search and find a happy face emoji, but I happen to have one. So I'm going to browse my computer, and I'm going to get my happy face. And watch what it's going to do. Now you notice it's kind of small, but if I move the cell a little bit, I can actually make it a little bit bigger. But also notice where it is. It's like way over to the left-hand side. So how am I going to fix that? So what I can do is I can use a justification and I can put it in the middle. And I have a feeling that if I make Fox, yep, there we go. All I did was I made this cell a little bit bigger, this row a little bit wider, and now my happy face got bigger. So I could probably do that to everybody else if I wanted to. And then if I wanted to have a happy face for everybody, I'm in such a good mood today. Everybody's just doing such an awesome job. You know, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here. Now look what I did here. All I did was hover over that little corner. You see that little handle right there? Maybe it'll let me zoom in. It's still not letting me zoom in. So I have a little cross right there, right? Watch what I do. I'm going to hold my mouse down and I'm going to drag. It's called the drag and repeat. Shelly's words. All right. And all I did was when I drag and repeat, it just puts it in every cell. Okay. And I can just kind of make these a little bit bigger. And then the happy faces will get bigger. Okay. So I just inserted some happy faces. If I didn't want to do the drag and repeat, I could also do I could just click on the cell and I can just do a copy paste. On a Mac, that will be a Command C, and on a PC, that will be Control C for copy. And then I can paste, which is Command V on a Mac, and on a PC, it is Control V. So it's C and V, and all I did was copy paste and paste. And I can continue pasting all the way down. To me, the easy way is just to use the little drag and repeat. Okay. Questions on adding images into cells. Now, it just doesn't have to be happy faces. It could be just about any image you want in there. So not only can you add text, and you can add numbers, and you can add all of these colors, but now we can also add images into our cells. And there's even something else that's even more awesome that we can add into our cells. And I'm going to click on the cell up here at the top. I'm going to click on Fox for first and foremost. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do it on all of them. So do you see how I did that? I clicked again right next to the letter, and the whole column got chosen again. And I'm going to go to Insert. This time, I'm not going to insert an image. I'm going to insert a checkbox. So let's say that I am meeting with my students, and I got to meet with Fox already today, and I met with Dana today, and I'm also going to meet with Serena today, right? And Mayhem, you know, we've had a little issue with Mayhem Daniel recently, so I need to discuss some things with him. So I'm going to go ahead and click that I'm meeting with him now. So this would be a great way to keep track of meetings that you're having with your kids, those conferences, attendance in the classroom, even as a part of some of that, again, that non-academic data that you might be tracking. You know, did you have a good day today? Put a check mark if you had a good day today. Did you complete your work? You know, put a check mark in there if you've completed that assignment that we had earlier from today. This is having that check mark there. I apologize, my mouse is going a little crazy on me this afternoon. But just having those check marks in there, I think that's another really good tool to mark off things within your spreadsheet, within your data tracker, as we call it. So again, we've got academic data, and we've got some non-academic data. We've got a way to put that non-academic data into the Google site, right? Again, I really like using the Google sites because of the using the charts and how those charts will change automatically for you. Okay. We do have enough time that I can show you one more part on the Google site, and I'm jumping back and forth kind of on purpose because this last part is about, you know, how we were talking about, well, how would you individualize for students? And maybe you don't want students clicking on everybody's stuff at the same time, right? You have a question? Is there a question?
Yeah, there was a couple of questions.
Sure.
One, go ahead and re-show how to put those check boxes.
Sure. Sure.
And then the other question was, how do you insert only academic data on the Google site?
Out of the spreadsheet.
Correct.
Okay. I think I know how to do that. Maybe I might need your help with that, Larry. But I think if we were to filter the data, right, and then put the chart in,
Yep.
yes, that's what I thought. I want to make sure before I answer. All right. So to add the check marks, first you decide: do you want them in each part of the column, or do you only want them in specific cells? This one we did the whole column, and this one we're just going to do some cells. So I'm going to start right here, right down, because maybe I have a header here. That's like completed, right? So here's where my first check mark is going to go. So I go up here to insert, and I'm going to go down to checkbox, and I put a checkbox. But I only have one. So I can do two things. I can do a copy paste, right? But that might be a little tedious. So the fast way is to do the drag and repeat, where I get the little plus, and then I click my mouse and I hold it down and I drag. And look at that. There's all my check marks. Okay. And if you don't want them there anymore, you just highlight what you don't want and you delete them. Hit the delete button and they're gone. And notice it only deleted the ones that I highlighted. I still have a whole bunch down here, and I still have some up here. Okay. Now, if I wanted just to get the data, like this academic data right here, I'm going to have to highlight it, right? And then I'm going to filter, right? Isn't that how I would do it, Larry? Or would I have to do the whole thing? What do you think? It should only show that data. Now I could do that as a chart, but I'm guessing I could probably just do that data.
Yeah, just do the data. Give that a try.
Let me see if that
actual images before, but give it a try.
All right, so let me go back to our data sheet here. And let's see if nope, it's showing all of my data right now. And of course, it's also got my sheet 2 on here. You'll notice on here as well. There's my sheet 1 and my sheet 2. But I don't know that I'm going to be able to, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to just filter that academic data in there.
You know what? Maybe just a screenshot.
Yeah, I could just do a screenshot. Yeah. Now what I could do is I think I can actually pull this back, and I think it should only show me part of the data.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I go like right about to there. I don't think it's going to nope, it's not going to resize it. So I can actually kind of move my slider a little bit. And it's not going to be a perfect match because the sliders move along these lines that are in here. You're going to see, you see these lines that are in here. So, and it's based on where those lines are. So I would have to kind of move some of my cells over a little bit if I just wanted to have some specific data in there. Okay. But if they open it up full screen, they'll see all of the data. So I think you're right. I think a screenshot might be better. Of course, it's not going to be fluid, but having that, just putting that spreadsheet in there would make it fluid. And again, remember, this isn't going on the outside either. It's only staying in Isleta. So you could have to decide. Now, what you could also do is on your different sheets within your data tracker, if you had maybe academic data on sheet 1, and then on sheet 2 you had some non-academic data, that might be easier to keep it in a binder, because you might have several sheets in there. Maybe you might have one for science, for social studies, and you might have one for academic data and non-academic. And then that way, then you could put some of those sheets out there, because whichever sheet that you're on, you know, it'll show the entire spreadsheet, but then you can show which sheet that you want on the spreadsheet. So that would be another way to do that. Any other questions? We've got 10 minutes, and I wanted to show you this one other thing with, yes.
Yeah, there is one question about how do you format date and cell so that you can use the drag and repeat crosshairs. This one this is tricky because if you put, let's say it's April 1st, 2020, and then you drag down, sometimes it brings it in as April 1st, April 2nd, April 3rd, and
Yes.
it'll sequence.
Yes.
So what I do typically is I'll do about 5 or 6, and then I'll drag and drop them down, and then you should be good.
Okay, so you're saying like if I put in here the date, so 9/17/20, right?
Right. And then go ahead and drag that down.
Yeah, I know it's gonna go 18/90. It should.
Yep.
Yeah, you see that? It's gonna go in sequential, or because it's so smart, it knows how to do that.
Your pending order, yeah, and then it's perfect, and then it's exactly the way you want it. It just depends on what you want. But if you don't want it to change, then you'd have to put multiples of the same and then do the drag.
So I'm just gonna copy paste these a few times in here, and now if I highlight all of them, right, and then I drag it. Yeah, see, now they're all the same. Do you want me to show you that again? So all I did was I just took the date, and I'm gonna just copy paste it like 3 or 4 different times, and then I'm gonna highlight all 4 of them, and I see it gives me that little box right there, and then I just drag, and then it goes, oh, you want it all to be the same? Okay, I can do that. So that would be the way to do the drag and repeat. You have to do a couple first and then drag and repeat. Okay. Any other questions about that? We've got time enough for me to show you one more really cool thing. Hopefully you'll think it's really cool. I don't know. Okay. So here I'm on my site again, and I'm going to go ahead and just add a new page here, just so we have a new page, and I'm going to just go call this one data 1. Okay. All right, there's my data 1. All right, so on this page, I'm going to put a couple of buttons that are going to take me to Fox's page and my data page, because we're going to pretend that those are a couple of my students. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to insert a button, and I'm going to call this one Fox. Okay. And then I would need to have the link for where it's going to go. So you'll see how when I clicked in there, my pages came up, right? I can have pages in here. So if I click on Fox, then it will take me to Fox's page. And I click Insert. And now I have a button that will take me to Fox's page. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, okay, so if we have all these buttons on there, and you know, kids will be able to kind of go into, they won't be able to do any editing or anything like that. It's just, it'll be like a view only. But you can actually have buttons in here. Now, if you wanted to do a password to this, there is a way. You can email me if you want that information, because I could share it with you, but it's going to take us a little while. And I'm looking at the clock right now, and I want to save at least a couple more minutes for questions. So, but there is a way to do it. It's not super intricate or anything like that. It just takes a few steps to get there. And I'd be more than willing to share that information out with people as needed, because some people want it and some people don't. So. Questions about adding a button. Okay, so now what I can do is if I publish this page, which I'm going to do, I'm going to publish this page, and actually it's going to publish the whole site that I have here, which is fine. And I click publish, and I'm going to want to see what this page looks like published. So right next to it, I click view publish site, and now it's going to show me, and there's Fox's button, and when I click on it, it takes me to Fox's page. And it could take me to Dana's page. I could take, if I added pages, it will allow me to go anywhere, and I don't have to know the link. I just have to know where the page is, as long as it's a part of my my site. Now, if my kids give me a link to their site, I can do the same thing, except in the link, instead of connecting it with a page, I could just put the link in there, and I'll show that to you right here. Once it loads up, give me just a second.
And Misha, I got a question about, can you repeat the last part? So I'm guessing they want to see the button again. So
Sure. Yeah, I was going to go back to the button actually. It's going to go back to it. So here's my data one page and here's my button. Okay. And let's say, you know what? Oops, I made a mistake. I put Fox on here, but it's taken us to Dana Scully's page. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I can click on it and you're going to see that I can edit it, right? And you rename the button and you can name it whatever you want, but you only get 120 characters. So you got to be kind of careful with what you put in there and then where you link it. So if I don't want it linked to Fox's page, maybe I want to link it somewhere else. I can actually take this off and it's going to say, okay, these are all the pages that are associated with this site. Do you want to link to something that else is on this site? If I don't want to, I can actually put whatever link I want in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put yisd.net in here and I'm going to update it. So now if I look at it live, it's going to take me to, oh, it took me to Fox's page. Oh, you know what? Did I not publish? I don't think I published. I always forget to publish. Let me see. Let me look at it. Yep, it should take me up there and let me publish it real quick again. You always have to remember to publish. That's like your save. I do that a lot because I'm in a hurry. I want to see what it looks like and I always forget. So now if I view it, it'll take me to the Isleta homepage, which is what it's, oh, it can't reach it right now. Why I see, up, the server must be down. It would take me there, but it's not going to take me there right this minute. All right, so that's how you would do the button. If you want me to show you again how to insert it, I will show you how to insert it. Just remember, if you're, whatever you're going to put into your site, you need to click on the word insert, which is that over here onto the right. So I'm under insert, and there's a whole bunch of things here that you can insert within your site. You don't have to just stick with, just adding sheets or charts. You can add a Google form in here. You can add YouTube videos in here. You can add all kinds of stuff in here. But I'm going to add a button, and I'm going to name the button. We're going to give Mayhem a page. And then I put a link in here, and I'm going to go ahead and link it to Fox's page this time around. And I insert it. And so and you'll notice that it put it down on another level here. This is really cool too. All I have to do is drag it, and I can just put it right there. I can also stretch this out a little bit. I can't stretch it up and down. I can't make it wider, but I can make wider as in the width of it, but I can make it a little bit longer. Okay. Any questions? I feel like I've thrown out a whole lot of stuff at you today.
All right.
I'm looking at the clock though. We've got like 30 seconds.
All right. Shelly, can you share that video link?
The video, can I share which video link?
The video for today with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. As soon as I stop recording it and it gets sent to me, then I can send it out to all of you. And I'm sure Miss Misha is also going to add it to our YouTube channel. So it'll be, I'll send you the link as well as us posting it on our YouTube channel. So it'll be in both
we'll
places.
post it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would definitely post that. I'll put it up in one of our playlists.
Yeah. Awesome.
And if you do need any more information, not that I have all the answers because I don't, but if there's something else that you have questions about, oh no, please email me, mdaniel@ysd.net, and I'll be more than happy to, if you come into our virtual office, I'll walk you through some stuff. You know, we'll do whatever we can do to help you to have a successful data binder that's online and digital, and a successful Google Sites for your students. Because Google Sites is amazing. There's so many things. I wish we had more time because I could have shown you so many more things.
And I do have one question from Laura Sanchez. She says, thank you, or this is a lot of great information. Thank you so much, Ms. Daniel. Any notes on the Create a Partnership?
And you know, that's the one from last week or 2 weeks ago that we did.
Aha, I wasn't sure, so I was hoping you understood it.
Yes, because that's what it was called. I remember it was create a partnership with, and it was the SEL component that we were talking.
Oh, yes, that was a session we provided
Yes.
last week. Oh, yes, I'm
Yes.
sorry, I've lost my mind.
No, it's okay.
Unfortunately, we forgot to record it. I'm
Ah.
so sorry, that was my bad. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording, by the way.